Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited for today's video. I am such a science nerd and I love the Bible and I believe the Bible, and I have scientific facts that are found in the Bible that we're going to talk about today. So let's get started.
Dancing with our Father and God in fields of grace.
Thank y'all so much for joining me for this short series of scientific facts in the Bible. I'm really excited to get started and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. Thank you, and let's get going. Imagine that you are looking at a luxury liner moving through calm waters. To your amazement, about a dozen people jump off the ship and cling to a lifeboat. You watch as the rest of the passengers stand on the ship and laugh at them. You laugh too. You can't understand why they did what they did. You can understand the reaction of the people on the ship. What those few people did was foolish. It made no sense. Suddenly, the ship hits an unseen iceberg and sinks, taking with it all who stayed on board. Now you see that those who seemed like fools were wise, and those who seemed wise were like fools. We have in the Bible a command to jump off the luxury liner of the world. Before you laugh at stupid Christians, ask yourself if there is any proof that its claims are true. The following video should help you understand more. At a time when it was believed that the earth sat on a large animal or a giant, around 1500 BC, the Bible spoke of the earth's free float in space. Job 26:7 says, "He hangs the earth upon nothing." Science didn't discover this fact until about 1650. The scriptures speak of an invisible structure. Only in recent years has science discovered that everything we see is composed of things that we cannot see, invisible atoms. In Hebrews 11:3, it states, "By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible." The Bible reveals that the earth is round. Isaiah 40:22 states, "It is he that sits upon the circle of the earth." The word translated circle here is the Hebrew word, which is also translated circuit or compass, depending on its context. That is, it indicates something spherical, round, or arched, not something that is flat or square. The book of Isaiah was written sometime between 740 and 680 BC. This is at least 300 years before Aristotle suggested that the earth might be a sphere. It was another 2,000 years later, at the time when science believed that the earth was flat, that the scriptures inspired Christopher Columbus to sail around the world. Matthew Maury is considered the father of oceanography. He noticed the expression "path of the sea" in Psalms 8:8, written 2,800 years ago. And he said, "If God said there are paths in the sea, then I'm going to find them." Maury then took God at his word and went looking for these paths, and we are indebted to his discovery of the warm and cold continental currents. His book on oceanography remains the basic text on the subject and is still used in universities today. Around 1500 BC, God asked Job a very strange question. If you'll look at Job 38:35, God asked him, "Do you send the lightning bolts on their way? Do they report to you saying, 'Here we are'?" This appears to be a scientifically ludicrous statement that light can be sent and then manifest itself into speech. But did you know that all electromagnetic radiation, from radio waves to x-rays, travel at the speed of light? That is why you can have an instantaneous wireless communication with someone on the other side of the earth. The fact that light could be sent and then manifest itself into speech wasn't discovered by science until 1864, 3,300 years after Job and God's conversation, when British scientist James Clerk Maxwell suggested that electricity and light waves were two forms of the same thing. The Bible informs us that all rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Upon the place from whence the rivers came, there they return again. Ecclesiastes 1:7. The statement alone may not seem profound, but when it's considered with other biblical passages, it's more remarkable. For example, the Mississippi River dumps approximately 520 billions of water into the Gulf of Mexico every 24 hours. Where does all that water go? And that's just one of thousands of rivers. The answers lie in the hydrologic cycle, or the water cycle, so well brought out in the Bible. Ecclesiastes 11:3 states that if the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. Look at the Bible's concise words in Amos 9:6. He calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out upon the face of the earth. The idea of the complete water cycle was not fully understood by science until the 17th century. However, more than 2,000 years prior to the discoveries of many of the scientists, the scriptures clearly spoke of the water cycle. The Bible and the first law of thermodynamics. The scriptures say, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host in them." This is Genesis 2:1. The original Hebrew uses a past definite tense for the verb finished, indicating an action that's completed in the past, never again to occur. The creation was finished once and for all. That's exactly what the first law of thermodynamics says. The law, often referred to as the law of conservation of energy and or mass, states that neither matter nor energy can be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed. Indeed, we all know there is no creation going on today because, as the Bible states, it is finished. In Genesis 6, God gave Noah the dimensions of the 1.5 million cubic foot ark he was to build. In 1609 in Holland, a ship was built after the same pattern, revolutionizing shipbuilding. By 1900, every large ship on the high seas was inclined toward the proportions of the ark. The Bible and meteorological laws. The scripture describes a cycle of air currents 2,000 years before scientists discovered them. The wind goes toward the south and turns about onto the north. It whirls about continually, and the wind returns again according to his circuits. That's Ecclesiastes 1:6. We now know that the air around the earth turns in huge circles clockwise in one hemisphere and counterclockwise in the other. Okay, here's one right now that we can all kind of relate to. It's the Bible and the law of hygiene. In about 1845, a young doctor in Vienna was horrified at the terrible death rate of women who gave birth in hospitals. As many as 30% died after childbirth. He noted that doctors would examine the bodies of the patients who had died, then without washing their hands, go straight to the next ward and examine expectant mothers. This was their normal practice because the presence of microscopic diseases was unknown. He insisted that doctors wash their hands before each examination, and the death rate immediately dropped to 2%. Look at the specific instructions God gave thousands of years ago to his people for when they encountered disease. And when that it has an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in the running water, and he shall be clean. This is Leviticus 15:13. Until recent years, doctors washed their hands in a bowl of water, leaving invisible germs on their hands. However, the Bible was specifically stated to wash under running water. We've all learned that one lately, haven't we, to be very thorough in hand washing. Medical science has come to understand that there is a strong relationship between a person's mental and physical health. The Bible revealed this to us with statements and others written in 950 BC. First, a sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy is the rottenness of the bones. Proverbs 14:30. Proverbs 15:30 also says, the light of the eyes rejoices the heart, and the good report makes the bones fat and healthy. Pleasant words are as honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. And finally, Proverbs 17:22 says, a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. Our final biblical fact for today is going to just have to do with something we've all learned just too much about over the past year or so. So let's see what the Bible has to say about quarantine. Long before medical science discovered the importance of quarantining a person with infectious diseases, the Bible instigated them. In 1490 BC, the scriptures tell the children of Israel what to do if a man has leprosy. All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall his habitations be. That's Leviticus 13:46. The law of quarantine was not instigated by modern man until 17th century. During the devastation Black Death of the 14th century, patients who were sick or dead were kept in the same room as the rest of the family. People often wondered why the disease was affecting so many people at one time. They attributed the epidemics to bad air or evil spirits. However, careful attention to the medical commands of God, as revealed in Leviticus, would have saved untold millions of lives. The laws against leprosy in Leviticus 13 may be regarded as the first model of sanitary legislation. Thank you so very much for spending this time with me today. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and maybe learned something or had something trigger in your mind, some questions, some comments. If so, please leave them in the comment section and we'll talk about it. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell for all notifications because, like I said, there are going to be at least 2 more parts to this series, and I don't want you to miss them when I upload them. And we've got a whole lot more coming too. So thank you again. Have a very blessed day, and I'm glad you stayed with me.